this is CodePunk with, you guessed it, another awesome tutorial. So this one's going to be more in the intermediate range, but it's kind of beginner intermediate because it's really easy to do. It's just that a lot of people don't do it because, well, they probably don't know it exists. And I tell you, it is an extreme time saver as you're working on your computer. So what we're going to talk about today is the run dialog and search, or otherwise known as Cortana. So the run dialog is really nice because if you know the name of an executable or an exe, for example, notepad.exe, if you've ever seen that, if you know the exact name of it, the run dialog is really handy to launch something really quickly without having to search for it in, let's say, the start menu or going through files and folders, just wondering where it might be. The search pane, on the other hand, does the same thing among others, which I'll get to in a different tutorial, but you don't have to know the exact name. It's actually very forgiving, and you can easily find not only applications that you want to launch, but documents that you may have edited sometime in the past as well. We'll start with the run dialog. I tend to use both a lot. It really depends on what I'm doing. So to begin, in previous versions of Windows, the run dialog was easily accessible by clicking on the start button. This is the start button. And you would normally see a run menu item that you click on that opens the run dialog. If you notice now in Windows 10, that's actually gone now and you don't actually see it, but it still exists. And the way you do it is what's known as a hotkey or a hotkey combination. And I'll put it up on the screen here, and what it is simply the Windows key, and then while you're holding that, press R, R meaning run, okay? So it's just like that, Windows key R. You can see right now I have the WordPad typed in there, so if I were to hit enter or just hit the OK button, it would launch WordPad. WordPad is basically, the best way I can describe it is Word Lite, which is basically, if I did this, I can go and bold it, italicize it, increase it, center it, and then start typing my document. We'll actually go back to normal text. So that's WordPad, and that was easily launched. And normally what you would have to do is go click on the start button, scroll down to the W, and I'm going to show you here in a second that it's actually not there. So you can't even get to WordPad that way. So your really only option right now is the run dialog, and you'll see in a second actually the search dialog as well, or the search pane. As I said, you have to know exactly what the name of the application is. We typed in WordPad, and I just happen to know that WordPad is, in fact, WordPad, and it's what you used to launch it. Likewise, if I wanted to type in Excel and launch Excel, there you go. Now, I didn't have to go search through the start menu. That one actually is in the start menu, but I don't have to go search for it. You could have some applications that preface their name with, let's say, the name of the company. The photo or the video editing app that I use is called Cyberlink Power Director, or just Power Director. But if I were to go in the start menu and look for Power Director, you see that it's not there. It's actually under Cyberlink Power Director. So let's get to some other apps that aren't so intuitive. Let's say you wanted to launch Microsoft Word, part of the Office suite. You would normally type in run and just type in Word. And what you get is a dialog box that says, hey, you know what? I can't find Word. It just doesn't seem to be there. I don't know where it's at. Sorry, I'm just not going to launch anything. What you have to do instead is type, if you know the exact name, which I happen to, it's actually WinWord, and then you hit enter, and then you can see Word launching. Likewise, if I were to go and type in PowerPoint, you'll see that it's not actually there. It's in fact PowerPNT for PowerPoint. I'll go ahead and close these. So if you wanted to do a document, this one is a little more difficult. I can't just type in the name of a document. Run tutorial is actually something that I created for this tutorial, and I'll show you in a second. And here, in fact, it doesn't even get past the first word. It just says, hey, you know, I can't find run. It's just not there. What you instead would have to do is note the exact path that it's at. Luckily, there's some hints in the way of the what's called an auto-completion box that helps you. Oops, wrong one. But you get the idea. I'd have to type the full path to get to that document. So why is the run dialog gone? I think I have a good reason, and that's the search pane. And as I said, I use both interchangeably. So the search pane is right next to the start button. Here's the start button, and right next to there you see type here to search. makes it pretty obvious that that's a search pane. Another name of it is called Cortana, and it does a lot more than just search, and it's something I will show you in a different tutorial. And the reason it's called Cortana, it's actually, you can almost think of it as an AI. It just kind of knows, you can ask it questions. It's a lot like, if you have an iPhone, it's a lot like Siri. Android, it's a lot like the Google Assistant, or Samsung like Bixby. The same concept. In fact, you can even use your voice on Windows to do that. That's something I'll show in a different tutorial. So let's go ahead and we're going to try and find Word. And remember how in the run box we had to actually type in WinWord to launch Word. In the search box, you can just type the word Word, and you see Word at the top of the search pane. That's similar for all the other apps. So instead of Power PNT, you can try. In fact, you can just type the word Power, and it's the very first one at the top. And I can hit Enter and launch it. So you see, it's a lot quicker than actually having to go through the Start menu and finding the one that you actually want. So it also works with documents. So I created, as I said, I created a series of documents for this tutorial, and they're all named Run Tutorial, and each one has a different extension, which is the last 3 to 4 letters based off of what application. So Word would be DOCX, DocX. So let's go ahead and we're going to type in. Oops, we're not doing run, we're doing search. I will type in run space T, and you can start seeing that it's starting to fill in that search dialog. So if I just know kind of the name of the document that I want, I can type in the search box. So one other thing is that whereas the run dialog has Windows key R that we use to launch it, just like this, without having to click anything, the search box also has a hotkey, and that's Windows S for search. And that way you can easily type it without having to use your mouse and wherever it's at and click on that. I know it sounds a little pedantic, but it's actually a lot quicker to do it that way. One other cool thing about the search pane that the run dialog doesn't have is being able to kind of figure out what you're trying to launch, even though you're typing it in wrong. So let's say I wanted to launch PowerPoint, and for some reason I forgot this the second P, and I just call it Power O. I can launch search, type in Power, and then O instead of a P, and you can see it still has PowerPoint because that's the closest match it could find, even though you're spelling it wrong. So I believe that's it. Both of these, if you get used to them, are a real big time saver. But just because I believe in using a keyboard to get a lot of things done, because it's just real quick to hit Windows S and type in 3 to 4 letters, maybe 5, to find the document or application that you're using. So I encourage you to try it. I would rely more on the search pane just because it's a little more forgiving, and it has a powerful document search, among other things. In fact, it even does web searches too, but we're going to cover that in a different tutorial. So let me know what you think. Let me know in the comments of any future tutorials you might want to see. And remember, I'm going everything from beginner tutorials, like my set wallpaper tutorials, all the way up to more advanced ones, such as what's called the command line, and a bunch of other different ones. And again, if you also like it, let me know, and spread the word. I'd like to get some more views on this, and there you go. Have a good one.